What the hell was that? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Adam Pecora here, and you have tuned into Requiem for a Tuesday. And you already know it's the Chicago Bears reaction episode. I mean, what was that? Why are we trapped in this purgatory forever? But first, rate, review, subscribe to Requiem for a Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in now. Please tune in again. And I'm desperate. Subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your stupid kids that you don't love, your cousins, your uncles, your friends that you don't want to speak to anymore. Just have them listen to this, and then maybe they won't anyway. And then I killed two birds with one stone, and we did each other a favor. I don't know. I almost had an aneurysm right there. I almost had an aneurysm this weekend. Check out all the links in the description below. Lots of good stuff. RFAT.bigcartel.com for the merch. Adam.rfat on Instagram. Subscribe, share, listen. Subscribe, share, listen. Do that on repeat. Links below. Thank you. First of all, I don't know where to begin. One thing I want to say is George McCaskey coming out and having that little open letter to the public being like, please be patient with Caleb. Fucking ruining everybody's high. Maybe he knew something. Maybe he went to a practice and was like, we need to let these people know. I don't know what happened. I hope it can be corrected. I think ultimately, like, a win is a win, I guess. I mean, the Bears have had some pretty sad wins that you don't feel that good about in recent time, but there are more positives than negatives out of this game, and I guess let's just go with positives before we do anything else. Okay, the defense is better than expected. We knew I said the secondary is the best in the league. They played phenomenally. Tyreek Stevenson still kind of gives way too much cushion on some plays where it doesn't even make any sense. It's like you were never within 5 yards of your guy the whole route. I don't know what the calls are, so maybe he's in the proper position, but it never seems right. It seems like he's still kind of like boom or bust, like he's trying to be like Trayvon Diggs or something. I love the kid. Hell of an effort all the time, constantly. And, big hits, plays physical, all that shit. But, that's whatever. The secondary is phenomenal. Jalen Johnson was absolutely dominant. Hands down the best corner in the NFL. I mean, I feel like people don't really watch the Bears because they're so hard to watch. Like when they have the ball. That is why they're underrated, I believe, in pretty much every area all the time. You're only seeing them in clips or in spurts, like even, journalists and whoever. I think the people here obviously understand, but, they have the same bias that I have. It goes both ways that there's errors in the arguments. Obviously, I'm a little too close to the vest on this whole fucking thing. But the defense is disrespected. And I get why the front four is underwhelming on paper. Now, Poles, again, with a steal. We get this guy, Darrell Taylor, 2 weeks ago for a 6th rounder. He has 2 sacks, one of which is a strip sack. He had pressure all day. The reports on him is that he overplays the run. Who gives a fuck? Our run defense is so good. It's super worth it for this guy to only be good at pass rushing, and that's all we need help with. We don't need your help in the run game, Darrell Taylor. You just keep that shit fucking going. I mean, he has 2 more good games. Get him a contract extension now. Like, this guy is a difference maker. Javon Dexter was playing great. So he has made a step up. I don't know if it's like the necessary step up. We also, have to take with a grain of salt that Tennessee was expected to not have a very good offensive line. And once their starting right guard, I don't remember which one, doesn't matter, got hurt, they were fucked. Which is still saying something, though, because even against the worst teams we played, we could not get pressure against them until Sweat came in. And he was getting pressure, but he wasn't even like a huge X factor, which is a great sign. There was more blitzing, especially in the second half after getting gashed in the run on those 2 back-to-back drives. They really did clamp down and make the adjustments they needed to make. So that was good to see. They really didn't have anything on us through the air the whole game. You know, Will Levis had like 2 nice throws. It felt deflating, that touchdown to the tight end. Special teams outside of Velus Jones, which I will get to right after this, was immaculate. They were perfect. He is a giant, glaring red flag in the unit, which I don't know why we're forcing him to be a kick returner when DeAndre Carter proved that he's great at it in the game. I mean, maybe it's a blessing. Like, hey, you really did this again on the first game. We're done. Like, we can now just be officially done. And now we also already know that we have the next guy. Like, we're good to go. DeAndre Carter, 67 yards, 66, whatever it was. Sets the offense up. They would have scored a touchdown if Keenan Allen doesn't drop it. Huge play. Huge play. Torrey Taylor, as advertised. The guy's hitting bombs. Makes me feel a lot better about us being backed up, which, like, had he been on the team last year, who knows if we don't win 2 more games just because he's able to give us, well, not give us better field position, but you know what I mean. Give the defense better field position, whatever. The guy's incredible. Santos has been on top of it. Looks like the guy we have in to replace Patrick Scales at long snapper's doing fine. Like, special teams were good. Velus Jones should be cut. He should not have made the team in the first place. I get it, Ryan Poles. Like, it's your pet project. You love this guy. You used a 3rd rounder on him. You know, he's working hard. He must be great in practice. He must be. I would imagine after what he's done in the games, if he was muffing kicks at all, like one time in practice, like, they should not have put him out there. Did they set up all those Hard Knocks things of them raving about him, like, just to really hammer it home to everybody? Because the guy hasn't shown it once. I don't know. Like, when he got carries at running back, I was like, is he just going to fumble? Because I don't know if he can carry it either. Because he didn't work as a receiver. He's caught like 5 career passes. He may or may not have fumbled one of those catches. I don't even remember. Never is able to return a kick or punt. Fumbles it every time is what it feels like. I know that he has had like 3 good plays, but it completely outweighs the tremendous amount of negatives that he's had. And again, like, if he's doing it, if he's not, he must be just like the greatest practice player you've ever seen, but he has not shown anything to make it worth it. Like, I have no faith in him at all. Like, if he had an explosive run, if somebody catches him, is he going to hold on to the ball? Is something even more stupid going to happen? I mean, he dropped the ball and then kicked it forward. It's fucking absurd. I could do that. You know, like, he's just really, really fast, and it's not enough. I mean, he has, like, no skills, it seems like. Like, when he's out there, is he just that nervous? Does he have the yips every time? Like, I don't know what it could be, but I don't see how that guy ends up getting this many chances. Nobody should get this many chances. I mean, I remember we were giving Amir Smith-Marset too many chances. I don't know who the fuck that guy even was or how he ended up on the team. Just seemed like 1 week in the middle of the season he was there and he was costing us games all of a sudden. It needs to be done. We need to be done with the Velus Jones experiment. He should not be getting carries. Neither should Travis Homer. Neither should really, I mean, like, Khalil Herbert should just be getting the ball more. A lot of guys should be getting the ball more. Anyway, the positives are that the defense and special teams are incredibly elite. we would have lost this game. Like, we would have been the Titans, frankly, in any other, like last year with Eberflus, or even the year before. Probably not the year before. That defense was unwatchable. But yeah, the Bears just were never able to pull anything out. They weren't able to come back. They weren't able to hold leads. And so just the sheer fact that they stayed in it, they were hungry, the defense kept stepping up. I mean, this, Bears fans are just all remembering the Super Bowl year against the Cardinals on Monday night. One of the greatest wins I've ever witnessed in my entire life. This wasn't that because, we thought the offense was going to be good, whereas then it was like, oh, the offense is doing this tonight. We know this. This is what the Bears offense is like. And it was just like, oh, it's the worst version of Rex Grossman tonight. Okay, cool. Like, it was we know what this is like, and then the defense wowed us, and Devin Hester wowed us. And this was like, it's a pleasant surprise in terms of those two units, but it's like we all want the offense to just finally be good. And then if the defense is truly this good and the special teams is truly this good, then this is like amazing. I do think, so yes, the fact that the team made adjustments, Eberflus not big on adjustments. I will say that on offense, they did some weird things, and offense obviously wasn't working, but they also did try different things continuously. Also made adjustments. I mean, I saw people complaining that they were running like too many screens again. Honestly, that was the adjustment. I'm all for it because they were trying to go downfield. They were trying to do a bunch of other stuff, and it obviously wasn't working. There was too much pressure. Caleb also just wasn't doing things well when there wasn't pressure. So you got to do fucking something. You got to try something else. So I liked all of that. I don't know why we're doing so many naked play actions when they're already being blown up. Like, we've already seen it get blown up 3 times. We're still running more. There's no threat of running. The running game wasn't working. Really, the offensive line was just kind of a mess. And it's kind of like, man, I thought we were past this. So that was not encouraging. However, we do have like depth and options, and they were literally already changing guys out. So I think that can be worked on. There is also a chance, like, we don't really know how good this Titans defense is. Jeffrey Simmons is obviously a great player in this league. So, you do have to factor in, like, was this a really high skill level? But, I mean, really bad basic stuff, which seems to constantly be a problem for this team. And I just don't understand how you switch coordinators. The whole offensive scheme is different, but you just have the same type of problems again. Last year, it's like they were praising the offensive line coach. Is he a problem, though? Like, how do you get here? I don't really understand that. So, I'm not thrilled, obviously, about the offense. There's nothing to like about that performance. Rome Odunze may have gotten injured. He needs an MRI on his knee, which is a bad sign. I would really hate for something catastrophic to happen to him. Obviously, here we're going to knock on wood. I hope he's okay. He had a tough game, obviously. It looked like he was running the same routes as other receivers sometimes. That maybe the call was wrong. Maybe somebody else had the wrong assignment. But, a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. He had that one crazy catch on that insane deflection. I mean, Caleb was just lasering it all over the place. It was really ugly. A lot of batted balls at the line, which, again, you can attribute to pass rush. But, I mean, still, it was just as horrific as it ever could have been. The fact that the team was able to still win really does just prove how good of a situation he is in, though, in terms of the entire roster. I mean, look at what happened to fucking Bryce Young yesterday. Just embarrassing and horrible. Caleb did not lose confidence. He looked rattled and nervous. I don't know about rattled. I don't know if that's the right word. Frustrated, I would say, for sure. It seemed like the speed was a little hard for him to adjust to. But the fact that, like, Justin Fields makes the same play as Caleb on that double spin thing and gets sacked for 30 yards. The difference is Justin Fields fumbles and then, like, they score, and then he'll come back and throw an interception after. Like, at least Caleb was able to just bounce back and just keep trying and just keep going and keep going. And, you know, there's something to be said for that, to get your ass kicked with your head held high and to not get flustered, not let it get you, like, I don't know, frustrated, forcing throws. A lot of the right decisions were there, and then the balls were just, like, wild. I think it was just a lot of nerves. Week one, I think there was a lot of confidence. There was a lot of hype. I think there were a lot of things that are pretty easy to correct. Now, if the blocking is bad, and that's just how that is bad. But I just think we were so effective at running the ball with a worse offensive line, with a worse offensive coordinator. It just seems unlikely to me that we wouldn't be able to get that going. They led the NFL in rushing 2 years ago. Now, we did also probably have the fewest passing attempts at the same time, but I just don't see how every other team in the NFL can still throw the ball 40 times a game. And only with us, it's just like the offensive line is getting exploded through into the backfield instantly on snap. Like, it just doesn't happen to anyone else nearly as consistently, for sure, but almost never at all. And we'll have like 10 plays a game where it's like the quarterback's one step back and there's already a defender right there. It just is flabbergasting. Like, it's truly like, this is Bears football. And it needs to stop. I mean, it is encouraging how good the offense and special teams are, but the reason why I'm not that excited is, like, I don't want this. We've done this. We always do this. 2018 the offense was better than what we saw yesterday, obviously, but Trubisky was completely ineffective. It was not realistic. Like I mentioned, Rex Grossman, 2006. I think if Kyle Orton's starting that season, by the way, we win the Super Bowl. 85. I mean, that offense had one of the greatest, if not the, I think but, you know, city bias running backs in history. Jim McMahon was good. He doesn't get enough credit, frankly. They act like people still say Sid Luckman's the only franchise quarterback we ever had. Jim McMahon was the franchise quarterback. Okay, everybody loved him, and he played for as many years as he could, but he also played like fucking Will Levis and against more violent guys when rules were more lax, and his body got completely destroyed. But he would have been the guy the whole time. You know, the circumstances just were what they were, and he couldn't stay on the field. You know, and Cutler was also, I mean, come on, to say that he wasn't our franchise quarterback and was not better than Sid Luckman, you know, whatever. If you go era for era, is it equal? I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. We just don't need the defense and special. We don't need the Arizona game to happen again. It happened already. You know, I mean, and they gave us the game. I mean, Will Levis just threw that ball up for grabs for Tyreek Stevenson, and then at the end he forced it late, and Jalen Johnson sealed it up to get the win. And I mean, you know, you could nitpick some stuff too where bounces didn't go our way. You know, I mentioned the Keenan Allen drop, the Velus Jones fumble. That's 10 points difference right there because we score 7 instead of 3, and they don't score 3. And then there's the other tough bounce of Jalen tracking that underthrown deep pass. It's right in his hands, but he's just running too fast, whatever. He can't catch it. And I believe that's when they scored the touchdown. So, I mean, it's like if that's an interception, Velus Jones doesn't fumble, Keenan Allen makes a catch. I know that if Valence Jones doesn't fumble, then we don't get the kick return. We don't end up there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like 3 plays that if they go the other way, I mean, we win in a blowout technically. Like, if everything, it's always butterfly effect, so you can't really say what would happen. But I just think, like, there are more positives than negatives, and it's just like, are the negatives how it's going to be, like with Getsy last season, or are we going to step up and make adjustments? And I just think Caleb Williams is legit and will do something. Nobody really played that well at quarterback at all yesterday, and no rookies played well at all. Jaden Daniels played well running the ball, but he was getting smacked around. Like, my whole thing, Caleb only took the one really, really bad sack, and that looked like a pretty hard hit. So the only really bad hit also. But he was pretty good about avoiding hits, so I'm just happy about that. I think Houston's going to be a rough one. I mean, if they can't get anything. But that's the thing. Is Houston's defense better than Tennessee's? I don't know. I don't imagine they have the interior pass rush. Now, if they just put Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter inside, like, are we just fucked? There's a good chance. I don't know. I think the offense just has a million question marks, and I could list out every single thing, and, it would be valid because they showed nothing. So the personnel groupings are questions. Everything's a question, and all of it should be tinkered with because none of it worked. But am I in full panic? I mean, it's a rookie. Everybody said, hey, this is what happens when they're rookies. We got to play the long game. This is how it is when you reset. But the team is very far and nicely along. So it's kind of like, again, it's the ideal situation, but it's also, if he's bad, what do we do would be the real thing. And that would be a crazy scenario. And I think I just don't want to think about that. So, all right. So with that, we will move on to the rest of the league. By the way, everybody, all that happened today is that all the moves, all the coaching changes, all the personnel changes, quarterbacks, new draft picks, new everything, free agent changes, all this crazy stuff. Every team today basically played exactly as they would have at the end of last year. Like, nobody changed at all somehow. I mean, there maybe is a couple, technically. But it kind of just seemed like everybody is exactly the same all of a sudden. So now we're going to do this every week. I made a year's worth of picks in the preseason, and I feel like everybody does that, and then it just goes away. And then when people reference their own, like, oh, in the preseason, I think I had them. I don't know. It's like, we're not even keeping track. So I'm keeping track. I'm going to have to own up to how terrible my picks were all season long, no matter how much the season fluctuates. And I think that'll be fun. And I'll just kind of use it to talk about the game. Because doing every week predictions for the next week, it's just like, what's the fun in that? I'd rather roast myself for being fucking stupid. So, first up, who do we got? We got Ravens, Chiefs on September 5th, a Thursday. I had the Chiefs. That was a close game. Likely was awesome, the toe tap thing. If Lamar doesn't miss Flowers, that's the real tragedy of that. I mean, he's wide open at the end, but those teams are both fucking incredible. We knew that. Not a whole lot of notes there. Packers-Eagles. I had the Packers in this game, actually, believe it or not. And honestly, knowing the fucking Eagles, they probably would have gave up another score if Jordan Love didn't get hurt. But Jordan Love did get hurt, which I don't want people to be hurt, but I don't want Jordan Love to play. So just in that regard, I'm happy that he will not be playing and that they don't have a real backup. They only have Malik Willis, who has not been good whenever he has played, and he has only been on the team for like 2 weeks. So he almost definitely will not know what to do. So that's great. The Eagles with Saquon are scary, and if he can stay healthy, they will be dangerous, and hopefully my Eagles season prediction won't be as fucking embarrassing as I thought that it might end up. Okay, Steelers, Falcons. I had the Steelers, thought that was a no-brainer. Falcons, just as I said, same exact team as last year. They somehow paid like Kirk Cousins $45 million a year to come in and play like Desmond Ridder. The Steelers defense is excellent, but come on, man. What the fuck was that? Michael Penix may be playing this season, which could work out in their favor, and they could probably trade Cousins somewhere. Is there a chance that all those first-round skill guys just aren't good? Like, is Drake London and Kyle Pitts, are they just both not that great? Also, like I said, I said Raheem Mostert. I listened back because I was super high. But, like, you signed Raheem Morris instead of Bill Belichick. Why? You drafted a quarterback when you signed a quarterback instead of a defensive end when you have no defense. Why? Justin Fields started in place of Russell Wilson. Actually, not that happy about that because he didn't look very good. He looked exactly the same as if it were the Bears. Now, the Steelers also have been an offensive hellhole. The thing is, if he plays bad, Russell Wilson will just get his job back no matter what, and then probably Justin Fields won't get a shot because he's already showing what he can do. So I hope he steps up and plays a little better because we need 51% of the snaps, Justin. All right. Next, we will go Patriots, Bengals. I had the Bengals, as I assume 100% of the people did. That'll be a fluke. The Patriots will still definitely only win like 4, 5, 6 games max this year. And the Bengals do always start off slow. It is a little bit concerning. I'm just not worried about it. They literally start off bad every year. And Jamar Chase, that's what happens when you don't practice and you just show up. Like, I think he still led the team in receiving. But not concerned, really. I got nothing on that one. Jags, Dolphins. Obviously, the Tyreek Hill arrest game. Still don't know. I saw people saying he was driving 120. I find that to be hard to believe just because of, like, stadium traffic. How do you even get to that speed? But whatever. It definitely seemed super fucked up. Either way. So they came out and tried to say that it was his fault because he, quote unquote, wasn't cooperating. I just think there's plenty of times when the whites don't cooperate and that doesn't happen to them. But what can I say? Hopefully, the fact that he did the celebration was perfect. I was hoping that he would, frankly, because that's just a cold-ass move either way. I just don't believe in the Jaguars. Like I said, I don't believe in the Dolphins either. But I think the Dolphins can make the playoffs again. The Jaguars can definitely not make the playoffs again. Trevor Lawrence, I just don't see it. So that was an easy pick. Texans, Colts had the Texans. The Colts, with this Anthony Richardson guy just being super explosive like this, he's definitely like not good yet, right? Like that's obviously clear. He's just still so raw. But the fact that he's able to make the plays that he makes definitely does mean that he belongs in the NFL. He's just more of a developmental project. It's the case where, unlike Trey Lance or like Mitch Trubisky, the lack of previous college experience or just whatever general starting football experience isn't a like what if. It's more of just a hindrance in like, oh, we got to wait longer for this guy. But they also need to try harder to protect him. They're literally just asking him to run into people. And I was going to say like he's Cam Newton, but here's the thing. Cam Newton got hurt all the fucking time and it derailed his career. So they should not do that. Chargers Raiders was a no-brainer because like I said, Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, I believe in it. Brandon Staley was somehow just a fraud that he was even good as a defensive coordinator because they had nothing but pieces on that defense. And they still have a ton of those pieces. And guess what? That defense was fucking awesome. Again, the Raiders, not the brightest fucking bulb in the box or anything. But, what are we going to do? Cardinals, Bills. I had the Bills. I had to double check. I don't know why. Looks like Arizona can score some points. Maybe Buffalo's defense is bad. Josh Allen is super elite. I mean, it is definitely Mahomes 1, but it is definitely Josh Allen 2 in my book. I don't know what else to say. The magic. He's just magical. I love watching Josh Allen play. And kind of like what I predicted, it's just like, well, he's going to do what Mahomes did when he lost all of his star players. People act like, oh, Josh Allen's going to lose all these receivers. What's going to happen? It's like Mahomes just won the Super Bowl with nobody on the fucking team. And the Bills have better people than the Chiefs had last season. So, not concerned about that. Bears, Titans, we talked about. I did have the Bears. The Titans, who knows? I mean, they clearly have the pieces on offense. Will Levis clearly has some ability. He needs to not let himself get fucking trucked all the time just for no reason. Thinking he's Josh Allen for some reason. He's got an arm, but I mean, he had some wildly inaccurate throws, but I think it was already after he already got his ass kicked a bunch. So what can you do there, really? But who knows? And the Bears, I don't know. We're not going to have as easy of a time on defense stopping the Texans, that's for sure. So that could maybe not be good. Then we go on down to Panthers, Saints. I hope I didn't pick the Panthers. Let's see. That would be alarming. I picked the Saints. What can you say? The Panthers, thank you so much for giving us everything. Like, you guys completely fucked that whole thing up. Your owner's a joke and a clown, and the Saints will probably be the exact same team as last year yet again. Just, both of those teams probably will. So look for them to match their records from last year. Giants, Vikings. I had the Giants. What a mistake. Yeah, they truly are done. It's over. They should have not signed Daniel Jones, and they should have signed Saquon Barkley. What can you say? And they also should have not signed Malik Neighbor or drafted Malik Neighbors and got an offensive lineman, and then maybe that could have helped something. But they're just dreadful. I got nothing. And the Vikings, I mean, Sam Darnold, it's just not going to happen. I don't know why we're pretending. Anyone who thinks that it's maybe a thing is crazy. Broncos, Seahawks. I hope I had the Seahawks. I did. I did have the Seahawks. Bo Nix looked bad. Like we said, all the rookies looked bad. I got really nothing on either team. I think the Broncos will overachieve. The Seahawks will underachieve, just like last year. That was kind of my preseason prediction thing too. So, I mean, I really got nothing. I just don't. You're not going to win the Super Bowl with Geno Smith, but you're going to make the playoffs. So, that's still good. That's still better than what I'm doing over here with the Bears. I took the Browns against Cowboys. Big mistake. Turns out Deshaun Watson just truly is that bad. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Speaking of butts, he just was named in another lawsuit for, guess what? Another butthole massage. And this was just some lady who wanted a date. Not that the other women deserved it more or anything, but this was just, hey, woman, give me a massage. The guy is definitely a lunatic. And I think also the Cleveland Browns were like, we got to find somebody else. Please, there has to be one more, at least, that we can get to sue him, and maybe we can get out of this fucking contract somehow. If he goes to prison, do we still have to pay him? That's definitely what's going on. No, it isn't. That's not definitely what's going on. Let's be serious for 1 second. But you know what I'm saying? The timing of that is a little crazy. They need to not play him. I mean, I thought that they would manage to get by. He is a hindrance. He is just terrible. Maybe he needed all that predatory shit to fuel his game. I have a deep, dark secret, and this is fueling my competitive edge or something. And now he's just exposed, for lack of a better word. Oh, God. Let's not talk about Deshaun Watson. Exposed. Wow, that was good. Anyway. The Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb made some incredible plays at the beginning, and they were nice and splashy, and then they just, their defense is good, and they kind of just took their foot off the gas on offense. But I don't know. The Cowboys, same thing. Like, they're a joke. It was just two jokes playing each other. The Cowboys aren't a joke. Like, they're going to win 12 games probably, but Dak ain't winning. I just don't see it. They have no running game. They have nothing. All right, almost done here. Bucks, Commanders. I definitely took the Bucks. Another one of those teams where everybody's just like, well, they're not going to be as good as last year. It's like, why wouldn't they be as good as last year? Nothing changed. They should be better. They've been decent the whole time. It's like everybody wants them to like not be good and act like the Super Bowl year was such a fluke. Like, they were good the next year, and almost like they were really close to going back to the championship game. And then they were not good the next year because Tom Brady was too old. That's for sure. And then the Baker Mayfield year last year is a reset year, for sure. But now he's fine-tuned and in there. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are elite, and that's a great duo. So I just don't know. Like, should they have great expectations? Like, maybe not. The defense is definitely getting weaker, but that offense is legit. They have great playmakers all over the place, and Tristan Wirfs is like one of the best tackles in the league. I don't know how the rest of their offensive line has held up, but they were really good. And that's going to go a long way because Baker Mayfield, with time to throw, has been effective his whole career. I mean, his negative moments come from being too hurt to play and playing anyway in Cleveland. That's when he was terrible. It's when he was broken. But when he's been healthy his entire career, he's been pretty effective. He's not like full-on Jared Goff, I've turned the corner transformation. But he's not Sam Darnold. Like, people are acting like Baker Mayfield is Sam Darnold because he had the 1 year where he bounced around and ended up in L.A. and fucking also Carolina like Sam Darnold. Maybe that's why, but it's just not the same. I mean, he's been much more effective and has made the playoffs as a starter and, has been the reason his team has won. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have the Bucks winning the West. Whatever. We'll find out every week what happens. Lastly, Rams, Lions. I had the Lions. The Lions pull it out. They almost didn't because Jared Goff almost threw a pick, but they ended up making the plays they needed. Jamison Williams has leveled up. Amon-Ra St. Brown was barely even a factor in this game. And then they weren't even really running the ball that well. And then all of a sudden in overtime, they just pound it down their throats. Their offensive line is great. Every player they have is just great. Their defense is clearly better. If they held the Rams to 20 with Cooper Kupp seemingly back at full strength and Kyron Williams is healthy. So, pretty good. Just as I expect. I mean, I figured the Rams would, be a middle 500 team. I just don't think they have the pieces on defense. I don't know any of their players really. And the Lions are just as complete of a team in the league now. If this defense is as good as it seems like it will be on paper. But their offense is just as sound as could be. So if you were counting, that puts me at 11-4 this week. I should have followed my own fucking picks and made some bets. Jesus Christ. I did make a couple, and they didn't go through because I had everything tied to the under in the Saints-Panthers game, but I didn't think the Panthers would be so bad that they forced the fucking Saints to score 50 fucking points. Anyway, so that was a mistake on my part. I thought the Saints would also be ineffective, but I didn't think about how bad Carolina's defense would be. And now, obviously, there's one game missing from there. I had the Jets over the 49ers. They will be starting here shortly, and I got to go watch it. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. NFL Week 1 in the books. Next week, episode 200. The big moment is here. But I'll probably still just talk about football, at least for part of it. So enjoy that. Hope to see Beetlejuice, too. So we'll see if that gets into the fold at all. And will it be a special event in any way? Possibly not, nor should it really be, because I'm just a guy alone in a room. So thank you for tuning in. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Requiem for a Tuesday on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you're listening. Please do it. Share it. Get the word out there. We love you for listening. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's find more people to appreciate. All right. Get the merch at rfat.bigcartel.com. Instagram is adam.rfat. Check out all the links in the description below. And remember, I are fat. You are fat. We are fat. Calculator.